You're listening to Dash Dash Dashy
on SMG.
First off, I want to actually thank listening to my friends of the episode 1 of Dash Dash Dashy. It actually did some good numbers. People actually listened to it, got a lot of good receptions from it. So I promise if the numbers did good, I'll go ahead and do a second episode. So this episode 2, I think we're going to go ahead and title it because I haven't titled the episode yet. I just normally record and then I title the episode. I think we'll call it Tripping If You Ain't Tipping. Because I said that I wanted to let people know how you can tell the difference between an order where there is a tip and there isn't a tip. So just to give y'all a little bit of history, at first when we did Doordash, you never knew anything about your tips until you went to the part where you're about to cash out. And then you can actually go through your earnings and see. So let's say, for example, if you earn $600 in the week, you can see that, let's say $200 was tips. That's when you could see what your tips was. So you never knew what customer did what when it came to tips. So fast forward to maybe 6 months to 8 months later, people started thinking that DoorDash stole tips because customers used to tell Dashers, let's say we tipped you $10. So if you know that the guaranteed minimum for an order is like $5 based on the size of the order in the mile, and you know that your customer tipped you $10, you would think, okay, I just got $15. But back in the day, you always kept 100% of the tips, which is the truth today. But if the customer tipped you more than the guaranteed minimum, then DoorDash doesn't give you the guaranteed minimum because the customer basically gave you $10. So we all agreed to it. So I'm not too mad at it. After you realize how it plays out, you be like, oh, wow, this is stupid. So now you see the more transparency when it comes to tips. The problem with that is that people who don't tip, they think that because they pay the delivery fee that's a tip. Because they, even back in the day before DoorDash, like when people used to do Papa John's and, you get your food, that way, Chinese food, they always used to charge you a delivery fee and gratuity. So you'd be like, if you're going to charge me a delivery fee and gratuity, I don't got a tip because it's going to go to the driver, which is true. A portion of it does, but it's still business. So tips is always appreciated. It actually shows from the customer because you got to pay the delivery fee regardless because you're asking somebody to deliver you food. So the cost of business is that. So tipping is just basically you as the customer showing appreciation to the person delivering you the food. Just like when you're at a restaurant and somebody gives you good service, you give them a tip. Or even if they give you half-ass service, you give them not as much of a tip, but you give a tip because you understand the hustle and the struggle. So what I want to do in this particular video or audio, because it's going to go up on YouTube, but it's going to be like pictures and shit, but I'm going to put you on game to how to tell when an order doesn't have a tip to it. So if you want to take it, you can take it. But once you know the difference between the two, you'll be like, nah, I'm not going to waste my time on that. So one of the examples that I like to give is if you deliver in the Norfolk area starting point, then you'll probably get more of my examples a little bit more because that's primarily where I grind and work out of. I used to be what is now East Norfolk, but that was all Norfolk at one point. I don't want to get into that history. So if you're at the Chick-fil-A and let's say you get a $7.50 order and you have to go to ODU, for example, it's a tip in that. It's probably about $3 DoorDash fee and then the customer tips the rest, something like that. So that's not bad. Now you say you have that same Chick-fil-A, the same $7.50, but instead of going to, somewhere at ODU, you're gonna go out Chesapeake by Foundation Park, and that order was for $7.50. More than likely, that particular order, the customer didn't tip. But the other thing that bears a factor in that is the size of the order. So if it's just like a regular average order, it might be a little tip in that. But if the order is kind of a decent size, like 3 combos and all of that, and you only got $7.50 and you drove way out there, that's all DoorDash. Like there's no tip or nothing in that. That's all DoorDash. So I'll give you another example. If you have and again, I'll use another Chick-fil-A example because like I said, it's central and everybody's been there before. If you got a Chick-fil-A order that's for $3.50 and you have to go up 1 block, there's no tip in that. Now you would probably say, well, it's only $3.50 for 1 block. Okay, that's cool. For some people, that is cool. I'll get into another video or another audio about how to maximize your time so you can get the most money quicker. So if you want to do that $3.50 order because it's up the block in certain situations, that's fine. I'm just letting you know that there's no tip in that whatsoever. Even at bare minimum, a customer gives a $4 tip. That's a lot better than $3.50. So you can tell that there's no tip in that. Because to be honest with you, that's really the main indicator. And it's not that much. Or if I'm going not far, but for that same amount of money, I drove less and got more. Those situations, I would say 85%, there's no tip in it. Just leave a little tip, even if it's $1. It's all appreciated.
You're listening to Dash Dash Dashy
on SMG.